Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to Hirakata here in Osaka Prefecture. And today we're going to be taking a walk around the neighborhood. And we're going to be starting right here in front of the Komatsu Osaka plant. And we're walking around the outside of the plant right now. And you see here on the left a lot of trees, and these are different types of cherry blossom trees. And some of these varieties of cherry blossoms are some of the first to bloom, so usually late March or early April. But some of these I think maybe early March. Okay, so today we're gonna take a walk around the neighborhood. And this is a walk that I like to do on a day like today when the weather is really nice, but it's just really cold today. In Fahrenheit, it's 41 degrees with a wind chill of 34. In Celsius, that would be 5 degrees with the wind chill of 1 degree. So, beautiful blue skies. Very nice day for a walk, but it's just too cold to do anything too physical. And this walk usually takes me about an hour to do. And basically it's walking around the Komatsu factory, going into the residential area. It's not a lot of traffic, and it's peaceful. So here, this sign, Najima Zakura, it's a type of cherry blossom tree, and they have information there. So when you hear about cherry blossoms in Japan, that's a really simplified version. There's so many types of cherry blossoms in Japan. It's not just one. So on this walk today, we're gonna see just kind of a regular, everyday neighborhood. We won't be going to any super famous location, but maybe this will give you a taste of just regular Japan. So we'll see a little bit of nature, some neighborhoods, maybe a school, a temple. And I don't know, we'll see what else. There's the factory. So we are in a state of emergency right now because of coronavirus. But you can see Komatsu is not slowing down. Life goes on as normal. The parking lot that I passed was completely full. So it looks like they're 100% in full operation despite the state of emergency issued by the government. So I've never been to this place, but I think it's kind of similar to a TJ Maxx in the US, maybe a kind of a cheap place. That's the Shimomura Fashion Center and Avel casual clothing and shoes. I think I've been to a Shimomura before, just to buy a new hat. Okay, so we're coming up on a historical marker here. So what is this? Well, there's some history here, and here's the marker. And this goes back to World War II, and this whole area that the Komatsu plant has today, this whole section was used by the Japanese government. It was a military complex to make bombs and weapons during World War II. And there was a really big explosion, and it just completely blew up this whole area by accident. A lot of people died, buildings were destroyed. And so that's what we see here. It's kind of the remains of some of the building at that time. So basically that whole area blew up, and the government, I believe they auctioned off this land, and Komatsu said, we want it. This big building in front of you, this is the Hirakata Library. Very beautiful day. I just wish it were a bit warmer. It's going to be 32 degrees tonight, Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. Going to have freezing weather tonight. So there it is, the Hirakata Central Library. And this building was a part of Kansai Gaidai University. Kansai Gaidai decided they no longer needed it, and they donated it to the city of Hirakata. And behind the library is a nice little park. They have these stations up for exercising. And a nice little Japanese garden here. Okay, there's a cemetery up there. You see, Japanese style cemeteries are quite different. So this is what a typical cemetery looks like in Japan. And I may make another video another day about Japanese cemeteries. We can learn about we can learn a lot about a culture. By looking at the cemeteries. So again, in Japan, there are two religions, and for weddings, people have Shinto weddings, and for funerals, Buddhist funerals. So the two religions really coexist here. And of course, a lot of it is it's changing over time. And now actually Western Christian weddings are more popular than a traditional Shinto wedding. So this is a continuation of the park on this side of the street. And let's go over here. You can see they've got a cobblestone walking area, and we're going up a small hill. Okay, here we are. There are no signs explaining what this is. There's no information available here. But this is an ancient tomb. And the name of this park is Kurumazuka. And this is called a kohun, or ancient tomb. And again, I'm very limited with the information I have because it's just not here. And what I do know is what I found on Google Maps. So yeah, it's up on a hill, and it's an ancient tomb. It's well preserved. There's no signage. So one of the interesting things in Japanese history are the kohun, the ancient burial tombs, especially of the emperors. And they used to make these really huge burial tombs with a moat around the outside, and the shape was like a keyhole. And actually here in Osaka Prefecture, in the city of Sakai, I think it's 2 out of the top 3 largest tombs in Japan are there, and they are massive. And just recently they became UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Okay, here we go. There's a little information. But yeah, Kurumazuka Kohun. So Kurumazuka must have been an important family, maybe. Alright, so let's leave the park and we're going to get into the residential area. And again, we're still walking behind the Komatsu plant. So back in this area, we're entering so many tiny streets. It's very, very easy to get lost or go down a dead-end street. And really the only people who come here are the people who live here. There's no reason to come back here unless you're going for a walk. And so about a year ago, I mapped out this walking path that we're doing. And you avoid all the dead ends, and it more or less goes in a circle around the Komatsu factory. And it would be really hard to do this without any prior planning. So here, there's an example of a dead-end street. One of the interesting things for a lot of people who come to Japan is every inch of space is used for farming or something. No land is wasted. So right here in the middle of a neighborhood, it's not uncommon to see agriculture. You can see they really take care of the land. That's probably a very small tractor. As you can see, a lot of these houses, the car is just barely parked off of the street. So in Japan, most families just have one car. They share that one car among everybody, because there's just not enough space. Parking is really, really expensive. Of course, it's even more expensive when you go into the city center of a place like Osaka or Tokyo. It's not uncommon to pay $10, $15 for 20-40 minutes. So if you park for 2 hours, it can add up really fast. This is a bus stop here for the Keihan bus. And this is where they put out their trash. These are the days in Japan the trash is separated. So it looks like on Tuesdays they put out their plastics and their plastic bottles. And the general trash goes out on Mondays and Thursdays. And on the second and fourth Friday, you can put out your glass, empty bottles, glass bottles. And it's very strict. If you don't separate your trash properly, they will not pick it up. And they request that you put your trash out in the morning, usually between 6 a.m. and 9 a.m. Because if you put it out the night before or on the wrong day, it'll sit there. The birds will come and tear into it and spread the trash everywhere. So they really expect everyone to follow the rules. Kind of a typical Japanese house. So here's another place where they collect the trash, and they put this net down on top. So it won't blow away, but still the birds can peck through the net. You see some political signs here. Yamada Kenta. Here, a little karaoke place. Old wooden building, and right next to a modern building. You can see a lot of Japanese houses have this brick wall kind of separating their house and their property from the street. A lot of houses have a gate. You've probably noticed these flags here. And it's basically like a neighborhood watch, making sure that the children can walk home from school safely, that the adults are watching. A lot of mirrors. It's very important because these corners how do you say, they're so sharp. It's hard to see, so you need to look at those mirrors to see if there's any traffic coming before you pull out onto the street. Okay, this is a temple. And there, another cemetery. As I said, Buddhist cemeteries, Buddhist funerals. And not a bad view. I can see Takatsuki across the river in the distance, the mountains. I can see Kuzuha Station, also in Hirakata. It's a beautiful day. And this is interesting. This looks like a small Shinto altar. And again, the two religions are so mixed. I'm not really sure what this is. Just a big pool of water. But here you can see just how tight the houses are together, and literally inches apart. There's a new house. Actually, they call this a model house, and so the real estate company built this to show it off. It's kind of like open house in the US. People can come, make an appointment, and then go inside and take a tour of the house. It looks super nice, actually. Here. A lot of families have that on their gate, the name. You could see a lady back there sweeping the street, and it's kind of common practice in Japan. If you have a house, it's your responsibility to make sure the street in front of your house is clean. Even though it's kind of public property, people take pride in their community, in their town, and want to keep their area clean. There's a little park in the distance. Here's another community center. You can see a lot of these houses have a lot of bushes and shrubs. Of course, it's for decoration, and it is very beautiful. But maybe also for privacy. Because if you're walking on the street, it's easy to just look into someone else's house. So maybe it serves two purposes. So here's kind of a typical park, like a small neighborhood park. Usually very little grass, some swings, a slide, some benches, and then here, this is for wisteria. Wisteria is a type of flower. And they put up these poles to support the wisteria. And they come into bloom in around May. So if you come back here in May, you can see some really beautiful flowers. But that kind of support system is really common. You go to parks and see that. And this house looks very political. They have so many posters. Those blue containers. It's for the newspaper. These are very typical posters that you see in Japan. Elections are very interesting in Japan. A lot of times people drive around the city with these really loud speakers with their message. You'll see them standing in train stations handing out flyers. So Hirakata is in Osaka Prefecture, exactly halfway between Kyoto and Osaka. And it's got a population of about just over 400,000. And in square miles, it's about 25 square miles. So if you do the math, it comes out to about 16,000 people per square mile. So that's kind of like a small town packed inside 1 square mile block of land. So the population density is really, really high here. And of course, if you go into Osaka or Tokyo, it's even more. And so this is right in the middle of the Keihanshin metropolitan area. Keihanshin. So Kei is a way of reading Kyoto, Han is a way of reading Osaka, and Shin is a way of reading Kobe. So those 3 major cities. Are all connected. It's just one major metropolitan area. So all of that combined has 19 million people. And that would be the 15th largest metropolitan area in the world. Of course, as of right now, the Tokyo metropolitan area is the largest in the world with over 35, maybe 36 million people. And that would include Yokohama, and other cities like Chiba, Saitama, Kawasaki. In fact, Yokohama is larger than Osaka. It is the 2nd largest city. Osaka is the 3rd largest city. But the metropolitan area, this Keihanshin area, is number 2 in Japan and number 15 in the world. It's a very peaceful walk. So this is a Friday afternoon. And it looks like the children are getting out of school, going home. So there you can see some open land, and I'm sure they're going to be building a house there. Again, no land is wasted. lot of neighborhoods have kind of announcements like that. This looks like a really nice house. Nakamura. Yes, with the BMW, space for 2 cars. Yeah, they're okay. Okay, so we're coming up on some schools. So that's an elementary school. Everybody's outside playing sports. Okay, so here's some parking, and again, we're nowhere near downtown Hirakata or Osaka, just to give you an idea of some prices. So it'd be about $9, 900 yen, $9 would be the maximum price for one day. So about $2 for 40 minutes. And then once you hit that 900 yen, that $9 mark, it stops increasing, and that's your maximum price. So that gives you an idea of the cost of parking. I actually looked it up, and what is the most expensive parking in Japan? And I found a place in Okinawa, and it was $30 for 10 minutes. And it was actually in front of a convenience store. So if you go in, you buy something from the convenience store, then you get free parking for a short amount of time. But if you just park there and you're not a customer, it would be 3,000 yen for 10 minutes, or $30. Here's a school bus. So if you could hear that, that's probably a company car. And when I put on their blinker, it'll say, "We're turning left, please be careful. We're turning right, please be careful." And now we're coming into it's an apartment complex. And it's just rows and rows and rows of apartments. If you can see, that's building number 74. And 73, and then it goes to 66 and so forth. So yeah, kids are coming home from school. I believe this is probably kindergarten. So yeah, this is, I guess you could say, the real Japan. There's nothing touristy about this. Just regular people going to work, going to school, coming home. This is where people live. Alright, so here, this area is called Nakamiya. And this is complex number 3. Apartment complex number 3 here. You can see this is number 4. Right here's number 4, this is 3. And we're here. Gives you an idea of these apartments. They don't look great from the outside. But they're actually quite nice on the inside. So this area of Hirakata is about a 25-minute walk to the main train station. You can take a bus. And then if you take the train, it's about 20 minutes to central Osaka, 20 minutes to central Kyoto. There's apartment number 35. So these are pharmacies, and we're actually getting close to one of the, probably the number one biggest hospital in Hirakata. So all around the hospital, lots of pharmacies, drugstores. Little park for the residents of these apartments. And now over here, this is the new Gotenyama Campus of Kansai Gaidai. It was opened just 2 years ago, I think. It's a very beautiful campus. This could be another video for another day. But the campus is really, really beautiful. It's actually designed after an Italian village. So Kansai Gaidai, Kansai is the name of this area here in Western Japan. And Gaidai translates into foreign language university. So it's kind of the main thing that students study. Foreign languages, and of course English is the number one. But you can also study other languages. Chinese, French, Spanish. And Kansai Gaidai is also famous for teaching Japanese to international students. And I'm guessing those flags represent the countries that send students to Kansai Gaidai. There it goes, the van. Of course, Kansai Gaidai had to change a lot of things with the coronavirus pandemic. And classes were online for the spring and the fall semester of 2020. Kansai Gaidai is planning to have their graduation in March. In person, face to face. And then the school year starts in April in Japan. And as of now, Kansai Gaidai is planning to have face-to-face classes. If you see in the distance the tall building in the back, that is Kansai Gaidai, the Nakamiya campus, the main campus. Okay, so we just hit the 1 hour mark. And let's go down to the main street. And finish up the video there. It normally takes me about an hour to do this walk. It's taking me a little longer today to show you some extra places. But it's a good walk. I enjoy it. Not much traffic. And you can really feel the atmosphere of just a regular residential area of Japan. So lots of apartment buildings. Let's check out this parking. Here we go. So during the week, Monday through Saturday, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for 30 minutes, $5. $5 for 30-minute parking. Would you do it? Okay, so here, this is the Hirakata City Hospital, the biggest hospital in Hirakata. It's super nice. I'm not sure when it was built, maybe 10 years ago, but it is very, very nice. Japan has an excellent healthcare system. And very good doctors. See here some, I think this is a kindergarten maybe? Preschool maybe. And here we are, this is the main street. It connects the Komatsu plant and Kansai Gaidai's Nakamiya campus with the main station. And this is a look of the main street. And I'm going to finish with this here, but this is a monument, and it is dedicated to the survivors, or not the survivors, but the ones who passed away from the big explosion at the Komatsu factory. So again, all this area from Kansai Gaidai and Komatsu, there was a very big explosion, many people passed away, and today it's a place where people live, go to school, or just go to parks like this. And I think that's about it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the walk. This is the walk that I do when the weather's nice, and I hope you can get a taste of what everyday life is like in Japan. This is nothing fancy, nothing special, it's not touristy. This is just regular people living their everyday life. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. See ya.